All right, welcome back to Repaint tutorial. I mentioned on AIG that I would eventually do a tutorial for painting engine stripes on models that have odd engine mapping, specifically having it for the left out for the inside, outside, and bottom rather than just the inside and outside. So here this tutorial is. So we're working on a Challenger 300 right now. The other models that have this are a Challenger 350 and the Falcon 7X. So as you can see, I've kind of already done one stripe on this model, this gray stripe. And I'm basically going to talk about my MO for how I do things. So first of all, I always paint with a wireframe on. It gives me kind of an idea of where I need to have everything placed at on this model. On the top, normally what I do is I just use 4 anchor points for the tops and see how things look. So I'll use an anchor point for where the lines intersect out here. So in terms of the top here, this green line is the delineator between the top and the bottom. Since the bottom is actually where the line would intersect on coming in from the back, I just keep the bottom anchor well clear of the bottom part of the mapping on the outside portion of the engine map. And then typically I'll find the points where they intersect over here. So this basically where this green line is, that's everything up top of that is the top portion, everything on the bottom is there. So I'll find an anchor for right about, as you can see, basically the bottom portion has the entire bottom part of the line. So it doesn't really matter where I put that bottom right anchor. As you can see, I basically just put it out of the way. I just kept it down below that green line through here. And then I tried to visualize where this top point would intersect the bottom point here. So, and then you have to adjust that as necessary. This line was also a lot thicker than it would be in real life when I just had the 4 anchors. So I added a 5th anchor on the top here to kind of slim down that line because of the curving of the mapping, and it looks pretty straightforward from that. On the bottom, I do a similar sort of thing for the top edge, basically figure out where this would intersect at. So this is the intersection point right there. And then I keep that clear of the top. And then on the bottom, what I typically do is I will add 1 anchor for each vertical line on the mapping, which you can kind of see there. And then I will add additional anchors and move them around as necessary. So this anchor right here was additionally necessary because there was a little port part that just jutted down right about there if I didn't have it. So I had to have that to move it back up and make it look like a straight line. And then these ones are moved over here simply just because around here when things get a little crowded, it takes a lot of finessing to basically get a straight line out of that. So I did what I could there to get a straight line there. And I honestly probably don't even need this anchor. Yeah, I can get rid of that one if I wanted to. But it looks good enough, so I'm going to go ahead and take the wireframe off and have a look-see at what things look like without it. And while I do that, I'll kind of talk about how I would go about mapping this to the rest of the engine. So basically, I'll copy the outside layer and move it to the inside as well, since we want it to be symmetrical. I will copy the bottom layer, flip it so it has the other side on this edge as well, and then I will merge those 2 layers together to make it 1 layer. And then once I add the orange and black lines, which will be all on the bottom layer since they are below the gray line, which is completely on the bottom layer. The bottom edge is completely on the bottom layer, so the black and orange will be all below. And honestly, I may not even worry about trying to get those to intersect just because it's so difficult. But I will, after that, I will go ahead and either merge all these layers together as 1 layer or merge them all in a layer group. And then I will go ahead and actually copy that over to the right side as well, just so the mapping all stays together and that sort of thing. So if I reload my texture, we've got the basic blank edge right now, and you can kind of see there's kind of a sort of an indentation there. That would be basically the that little anchor that I put in to keep it slimmed down, and that's probably something I could live with. I could probably adjust it a little more upwards, but at the same time I want to try to keep this slimmed down as much as possible. So Honestly, that's probably a pretty good result for this gray line. It's obviously not perfect, but people aren't going to be, at least they probably aren't going to be looking that close at your models, your repaints in the sim. So, um, like I said, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about this. This is probably one of the tougher parts about painting models like these. It's why I don't do them so often, is because it takes so much time. But at the end of the day, it's pretty well worth it. And it's not as bad as it once was for me, at least. So yeah, enjoy your repainting.